Jojo, we are live. You can start.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Okay, I see a few of you have joined. We almost have 50 of you. All right, good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon from Accra. It will be nice. It's 1:01 p.m. here in Accra. It will be nice to know who you are and where you're reaching us from. So before I go ahead to start, there's just two things that I want us to do. First of all, for the 60 and over people on, I just want to do three things, right? Just write your first name, which city you are joining us from, and in one word, what you plan to do for this Christmas season. So, Jojo, Accra, sleep, because that's what I intend to do. Welcome. I think we have almost 80 of you. Hello, Esther. Hello, Adam Osman. Hi, Bade. Amanti, Ethiopia. Amanti, what do you plan to do this Christmas? Henok from Addis Ababa. Isaac Spinters travel. Good for you, Isaac. You'll be traveling. Spinters Accra, you mean? William Accra says he's going to play games. Ebenezer, what do you plan to do for this Christmas? Ironsa from Rwanda. Hi, Ironsa. Pleased to meet you as well. There's almost 100 of you here. So I see James from Abuja, Nigeria. James, welcome. Dr. Sise from Ethiopia, welcome as well. Jacinta from Nigeria. Good to see you, Jacinta. Amanti from Ethiopia. Good to see you as well. Joshua from Accra. Mekayas from Addis Ababa. Joy from Accra says he's going to refuel. He's going to refuel this Christmas. Joy, you ran out of fuel in the year. It's not just you, all of us did. Jessica from Accra says she's spending time with family. Emanuela says she's going to do what I'll be doing. She's sleeping as well. Hafton from Addis Ababa. Hafton, what do you intend to do this Christmas? Chinasa from Lagos. Hi, Chinasa. Welcome. Good to see you. Esther from Nigeria says she's going to go outside. Good for you, Esther. I'm going to stay inside. Direct opposite. Betty as well says church camp. Good for you, Betty. Pray for all of us. Dr. Selam from Ethiopia. Pleased to meet you, Dr. Selam. Brooke from Addis Ababa. Hi, Brooke. Ishmael Asamani says she's going to study history. Nice. Iheanacho from Nigeria. Any relation to the famous footballer Iheanacho? Pleased to have you as well. So I think it's in the next minute, we have almost 120 of you. So the next minute, we'll proceed with the rest of today's session as well. Abenaza from Addis Ababa, I guess, spending time with family. Hi, Magda Solomon. Pleased to meet you as well. And Iheanacho says that he intends to conclude on his applications. I'm very happy because that's exactly what we intend to achieve in this session. And by the time we are done, we hope to have made your life easier as far as the application process is concerned. Hi, Sharon from Addis Ababa. Hi. And Gilbert from Kumasi. Hi, Gilbert. How are you in Kumasi? So before we proceed, I'm just going to put a small poll on your screen for which you can proceed to answer. So it's gone live. It says, which year do you intend to begin your master's degree? Which year do you intend to begin your master's degree? So kindly go ahead and provide your answer. We'll wait for a few minutes for a few more of you to join in and be able to provide your answer. And after that, we can all share the results and look at it together. So we're waiting for a few more of you to complete the poll. I think we'll leave it on for 1 more minute so that those of you who are coming in late will be able to cast your poll. We are a little above 130. Let me see the messages from a few more of you whilst we complete the poll. Hello, Zelalem Nega from Ethiopia. Also, we have Oyelola Mayokun Tofik, I guess from Nigeria. Ferdinand from Abuja. Pleased to meet you, Ferdinand. And Ernest Ironsa says he wants to mobilize resources for his master's degree, which is a very good way to spend Christmas. I'm very happy for you, and may all your dreams come true as well. Hi, Donna from Abuja. And there's Juliet from Kenya. Hi, Juliet Nyamwaro, who intends to spend time with her family this Christmas as well. Timothy from Nairobi, pleased to meet you. In 15 seconds, we will take the poll off, and I hope you've all been able to cast your vote as well. It says, which year do you intend to begin your master's degree? Which year do you intend to begin your master's degree? Hi, Stephen from Kenya, Stephen Kikwa. I hope you've been able to complete the poll and sent in your answer as well. Ariam from Tema, spending time with your family, that's a good one. Ashinafi from Addis Ababa, hi, how are you? And George Mark from Kenya intends to play games, I guess FIFA or Mortal Kombat, one of those two. Okay, so the poll is done, and we will look at the answers. So 84% of you intend to begin your master's degree in 2024. 12% of you in 2025, and just 4% in 2026. So basically, almost all of you are in the right place as far as the urgency of this workshop and the follow-up actions beyond this workshop are concerned as well. So hello, how are you from Addis Ababa? Now that I've met quite a number of you, let me introduce myself. My name is Jojo Kwanzaa. Just call me Jojo, J-O-J-O, Jojo. I arrived in Nairobi a couple of weeks back, and apparently people who had seen my name and had never met me thought I was a woman. So it's my name can be problematic, but it's really simple, J-O-J-O, Jojo. I work for Seed Global Education. I look after the Africa region. And the purpose of this session, before I go into it, is to ensure that a lot more of you are better prepared for the process that will take you from interest to actually getting to study for your master's degree at these schools that you have met recently, either in Lagos, in Abuja, Accra, Nairobi, or Addis Ababa. Now, we will try to make this as practical as possible, which will allow you to have the most fundamental comprehension of what it takes for you to be able to move from just being interested in studying for a master's to actually applying and getting admission into your desired or your preferred master's degree program. So if that's okay with you, I will proceed to look at some of what we will cover in this session. So we'll look at submitting your application online. We'll also look at your statement of purpose or essay, provide some guidance for you as well. Your resume preparation as well. We did do some resume sessions whilst we were on the road with a few of you in West and East Africa as well. We also discussed testing requirements, transcripts, very important, transcripts, secure recommendations, interview tips, and types of funding. I know funding is sensitive matter for a lot of you, and I hope to be able to cover funding also with you so that we are on the same page and that we all know what to do and where to go next as far as funding is concerned. Okay. And as I go along, if you have any questions, use the Q&A and post your question on there, and we'll tackle it as we go along as well. Solid. Okay. Now, online application submission. And sometimes I'll leave this slide and go into my browser to show you some of the more practical views of how this goes as well. Now, most of you will say, I am interested in this particular master's degree at this school. The first step for everyone is to ensure that you have created a profile on your university's website or your university's application portal. It's always the first step, because without that, you cannot kickstart any of the other follow-up processes that require you to move from where you are now into actually matriculating into your desired master's degree in the US or in Canada as well. So you need to first go and create your profile on your preferred university's application site or portal, and that allows you to load up your required documents, send them in, have them reviewed, and have your application processed. I'm going to leave this slide because I told you this will be a practical session. I'll show you examples of some of the universities that you've met with recently and how their processes look like, if you don't mind. And I know you don't mind at all, so let's proceed with that. Okay. Good. So I'll show you one example. This is Emory's Goizueta Business School. A number of you met with Emory whilst we were on the road with the Seed Business School Festival. You met Dr. Melissa Rapp as well. You spoke to her as well. So Emory offers, and I'll give you the example. So some have it directly on their web pages as an overhead tab. So Emory, for example, has an apply button on this side that allows you to show or to directly go into the application process. So if you click on this, if you click on apply, it opens the access to the portal. It says start your application, and then it allows you to pick the program you are interested in. So let's say I want to do MS in Business Analytics, okay? So I click MS in Business Analytics, and it says start MS Business Analytics application, okay? So it gives you the deadlines, and then it gives you deadlines and calendar to watch out for. And then it allows you to create your profile. So for most of you who are doing this for the first time with Emory, you'll be first time login, first time user login. You click on that, and then you enter your email, your first name, your last name, your date of birth. I'm doing this because I want, once we leave this session, it should be pretty straightforward for everyone what they have to do to get into the master's degree that they wish to get into as well. I'll show you one more example, and then we move on. So I can show you St. John's. So St. John's, on the you find the application buttons on the program page. So I'm interested in STEM MBA, STEM Master of Business Administration, STEM MBA. On the STEM MBA page, which is on the St. John's website, if you search STEM MBA in your Google search, it will bring you to this page. It gives you all the information that you need, the program, the credit requirements, what it takes for you to get in. And at the bottom of the page, you'll find apply. So compared to what the example I showed you from Emory, where the apply button is at the top, St. John's, you find the apply button at the bottom of each program's page. So the program that you are interested in, once you visit that program's page, you'll find the apply button at the end of the information. And for me as well, as a first-time user, I click create an account. Similar to Emory, email, first name, last name, date of birth, you proceed from there as well. So I believe I've shown you these two examples to make this as practical for you as possible, so you can do this with ease as well. Now, proceeding from here, we will also talk about your essays, okay? As you're about to prepare for your application process, it's important that you start to follow up with writing your essays, start to follow up with obtaining your official transcripts. I'll go much deeper into that. You have to start preparing your resume and getting the right help in writing your resume. And also, one other area that people are quite bothered by is obtaining your recommendations from your professors or your former line managers or your current line managers ahead of the deadline, so that you'll be able to meet your deadline for your school as well. And then obviously check all details, you apply and you pay for the fee. I'll go into a bit of that as well. Now let's tackle the first issue, which is the essay or the statement of purpose. Now people ask, what's an essay, what's a statement of purpose, and how is a statement of purpose, for example, different from a personal statement? I'll say this. A statement of purpose and a personal statement both are designed to achieve the same thing. The university desires to know about you. But for the statement of purpose, the aim is for them to know why you have chosen that particular program. And for the personal statements, about what your motivations and interests are, that is driving your direction as far as that program is concerned. It covers things like you telling your story, so who you are, where you've been, what you've done, what you intend to do in the future, very critical as well, and why you deserve to be on the program. So why do you deserve to be in the MSc in Business Analytics program? Or why do you deserve to be in the STEM MBA program at St. John's? And how it will impact your future plans. So you may have spoken about who you are, what you've done, what you intend to do in future, how this program that you are applying to is going to help you to achieve what you also intend to do in future. And then also how you yourself as a person, as a professional, will be able to bring value to the university's classroom on that program, and how you intend to add value also to the university community as well. Typically, statement of purpose or personal statement will not exceed 1 page. However, each school will have their guideline as far as word count is concerned. Not just word count, they also have guidelines as far as font size and spacing length as well, or spacing width is concerned. So it's important that, just as I showed you on those web pages, when you go to the program pages, you'll be able to read more about what the requirements are for each program that you are applying for. I'll show you one example in a bit, so we are all comfortable as well. But typically, try and stay within the requirements that are listed for you by the university as well. So also, a few other things to pay attention to. Do not be repetitive, okay? In terms of what you write about as far as experience is concerned, write about genuine things you've done, genuine endeavors, genuine projects, right? Let your passion come out. Let your objectives be clearly stated through your SOP or through your statement of purpose. And do not copy content from the internet. I'm pleading with you. I think we've shouted this enough, and I'm going to shout it a bit more now. ChatGPT has come to make our lives easier. However, do not go and slot in your essay into ChatGPT or ask ChatGPT to write you a statement of purpose and carry that and send it to any of the universities that you've met recently. It does not communicate you as a serious candidate. It also does not communicate an image of a prepared candidate, and it may not speak well for you before the admissions committee. Try and be authentic. If you are looking to use ChatGPT to provide, for example, to help you provide a structure within which to write, fair enough. But do not copy ChatGPT essays and send it as well. they will find out, and it could easily check your application out of the queue. As far as the narrative goes as well, try and construct your story in such a way that it is easy to follow. The best way to do this is to follow a chronological order. So if you're telling your life story in a particular direction, make sure it follows a timely order from where you began, what you did, what you achieved, where you are now, where you intend to be as well. So that anyone who picks your essay or your statement of purpose is able to easily follow the story and be able to understand what you have been seeking to achieve and what your trajectory or what your journey has been so far. Once you are done with these essays, please, you can look at it from a third person's perspective. You can actually ask someone to also review it for you so that they can also give you a third party's perspective. When you write your own things, sometimes you may be carried away by your own understanding of your own story. But if a third party looks at it, they'll be able to point out some of the errors to you and be able to assist you to figure it out and be able to handle it in a much easier way. One last word I'll say on this is please, please, please write in very simple language. I know sometimes in order to try and impress the admissions committee, you would use jargons and big English words and big terminology. And if you are an engineer or you are a scientist, you try and use terminology that may try to show you off as a very competent candidate. It's all well and good. However, it may not bring out your story the way it should. So try and maintain very simple language so people can understand what you are trying to communicate and be able to move your application forward as well. If you have any questions on purpose or essay, please note it down. I'll come to that. I wanted to show you an example of some of the essays that you may be required to submit as well. Just give me 1 second. I'll show you an example. Okay, so if you can still see my screen, this is an example from Emory as well. This is for, going back, this is for the 2-year MBA at Emory. Emory's Business School, the 2-year MBA at Emory. Let me scroll down. Hopefully you can still see my screen. Let me skip past all the issues with others. Let me go to essay. So it says essay number 1, post-MBA career goals. What will professional success look like immediately after your MBA experience? Please describe where you would like this degree program to take you professionally, including information such as desired job title, responsibilities, company impact, and/or industry. Explain how your professional experiences and personal strengths align to with your post-MBA goals. And it says here, I'm going to blow this up a little for you. It says here, 200-word limit. 200-word limit. I mentioned strictness around maintaining following these rules as well. So post-MBA career goals, 200-word limit. Leadership in business also, let me bring this up, also says 200-word limit. Same thing, 200-word limit. Always pay attention to it. And this talks about, tell us which of Goetze's core values, that is courage, accountability, integrity, rigor, diversity, team, community, resonates with you, and share a personal account of demonstrating leadership in this area within your current or previous company or service organization. The committee is interested in a personal story of leadership. Personal story of leadership, not of your team, not of somebody else you work for, but your personal story of leadership. And it says 200-word limit. So these are pretty short essays that allows you to tell your story in a very straightforward manner. I'm going to return back to our presentation as I've been able to show you this example, so we continue. Awesome. Now, resume. I know a number of you are quite experienced. Some of you that I met actually have more years of experience than I do. But truth be told, your resume for your application process into an MBA or business masters must reflect your ability to focus on the most important things that you've attained along your career path. So first of all, your resume that you submit, one, it must follow a timeline according to chronology. So where you started, where you are, where you're going, it should follow clearly as well. Try not to exceed 1 to 2 pages. Try not to exceed 1 to 2 pages, because whoever is reviewing your resume reviews quite a number of things, and it's important that they're able to get all the ideas in your resume within 1 to 2 pages so they can focus on the most important things. Highlight your achievements. It's good that you were a marketing manager of a bank, for example. It's great. It's great that you were HR manager of a telecom company. It's awesome. However, under each work experience you put in your resume, talk about what you achieved and not the role you occupied. So for example, within 2 years of becoming marketing manager of XYZ or ABC Bank, I was able to move our market share within wholesale banking from 2% to 10%. In achieving that, I increased revenue from 100 million bro a year to 200 million Ethiopian bro a year, right? So you're just not talking about the fact that you occupy the seat, but you achieve something along the way. That helps you to stand out as a very solid candidate for business school, one who has a clear path of achievement, who is able to communicate that achievement clearly and knows where they are going to from here as well. Focus on the positive outcomes of everything that you did. So even with projects that did not go according to plan in whole, there were still positive outcomes that you and your organization picked from that as well. Be truthful. Do not exaggerate. Be truthful in writing the details of your accomplishments. Do not exaggerate. Sometimes exaggerations can jump out of a page at you. And an admissions committee that obviously has many years of experience in doing this will be able to know which details or accomplishments are exaggerated or overblown out of proportion. Right, now on to the next one that we have to look at is test requirements. Test requirements, okay? Now, during the business school festival, you met 7 business schools. So we've put here what each of them, their status is as far as test requirements are concerned, okay? Now, for GMAT and GRE, it is required by Emory, it's required by Rothman School of Management at University of Toronto, and it's also required by Schulich at York University, okay? It's optional for JWSB, it's optional for Pepperdine, it's optional for St. John's, and it's optional for University of San Francisco. Now, before I talk about, okay, let me first talk about the English language requirement as well. Now, the English language requirements also are either required or optional based on your region or specific country. Now, as I've done so far in this workshop, I'll show you examples so everybody is comfortable. Give me 10 seconds. I'll show you an example so you are comfortable with what I'm speaking about. Okay. All right, so I'm back. So for every university that you intend to apply to from this Seed Business School Festival, always ensure that you check the specific requirements. So if you look at this, this is for MS Business Analytics full-time application process. Let's run down to test requirement, and then we look at English language test. So if you see test requirement, I'm going to make this bigger. If you look at test requirements, it says applicants to graduates MS in Business Analytics are required to take the GMAT and the GRE, and they'll send the score as well. Now here's where it gets interesting. It says test waivers are available for those who meet any of the following requirements. 1, Emory University students with a GPA of 3.0 or above, which none of you fall into. And then they also say STEM graduate degree with a GPA of 3.0 or above. So graduates in science, tech, engineering, and mathematics who have GPA of 3.0 and above can apply for their test to be waived. So you can apply for this test to be waived as well. And if the school approves it, then you may be waived as a special case. But as a general case, the GMAT and the GRE is required by all. So check these requirements on the respective program pages. And if there's a waiver, take advantage of it. If not, prepare for the test as well. And I know you are all smart people. You will get good scores and hopefully get into your degree as well. So I'll show you an example of an English language requirement as well. So it says, Gazeta Business School expects all students possess strong communication skills in English. Okay, fine. You are not required to submit an English language test if your undergraduate degree is from an institution in which English is the language of instructions, and you work in a country where commerce is generally conducted in English. So for Taufik, for example, who is joining us from Abuja, Taufik's degree came from a Nigerian university, which was in English, and he works in Abuja, where business is conducted also in English. So it says, for example, India, Canada, United Kingdom, Australia, New Zealand, Malaysia, Singapore, Ghana, Nigeria, Uganda, no TOEFL waiver is required. Please do not request one. So that means you don't need to request for a waiver. So this is just one university's English language requirements where they are saying automatic waiver if you are from Ghana, Nigeria, Malaysia, Singapore, Uganda, etc., etc. But for others, you may have to prove, you have to either write your IELTS or TOEFL, or you have to prove that you got your degree from a country where English is the primary language of business, and you also work within that country as well. So I've been giving you these examples. I'll return to my presentation so we continue as well. Now, if it happens that you do need a test and there's no way around it, that's fine. Start preparing for the test. Start asking yourself one very critical question. Can you study for it yourself, or you are going to need help? If you are going to need help, there are test preps within your country. I think you may have met a couple of them at the Business School Festival. There are quite a number of them also in country, in Nigeria, Ghana, Ethiopia, in Kenya, that you can sign up to and get the help you need. However, if you feel you can study on your own as well, fair enough. Now, these tests, it's important that even whether you are studying on your own or you are getting help from a test prep, that you practice as much as possible to enable you to get a hang of what the requirements are, how much time you need, and what sort of thinking and methodology is required to be able to answer questions successfully as well. So that's it for test requirements. We move on to transcripts. Now, a number of you have transcripts in hand. And you may wrongly assume that those transcripts are adequate for the purpose of applying for your master's program in these universities as well. Now, some transcripts are official and some are unofficial. I'll explain. So some of you, your undergrad universities have portals for which you can access your transcript and all your grade statements. You have that, you save that as PDF, and that is a transcript that you have access to, but it's not officially issued by the university. You download it yourself from the university's portal, but the university has not given it an annotation or a stamp of approval to say that this is officially being released on behalf of Jojo Kwanzaa. Okay? So those transcripts, some of the universities, and when you look at the requirements, some of them accept it for the evaluation process. You'll be able to submit it on the portal, the application portal, for it to be evaluated as part of your evaluation process for getting into the master's program that you desire. However, at the time of starting the program, you'll be required to bring an official transcript on your undergrad university's letterhead, stamped and sealed by your school's registry, your undergrad school's registry, for which we'll have to go into your records at your new postgraduate university as well. So check the requirement before you comment. Some will say we want official transcripts now so that you can, ahead of time, go back to your undergraduate degree, your undergraduate degree university, and request for these. But if the ones that are available to you via the school's portal or the ones that have been given to you at the time of graduating, you can use that for the evaluation process. You could submit those ones and then prepare having the official ones ready as well. It's important that it's on the university letterhead because it gives credibility to what you are submitting. They know that it's official, they know that it came from the university, and the university has endorsed it as well. Get this transcript. As long as you know that you want to go into a master, 84% of you want to go into a master's degree next year. Absolutely try to get your transcript now so you can have it in your record ready as well. Now, some universities require your transcript to be evaluated. There's a service called World Education Service where you can submit your transcript online for it to be evaluated. In this Business School Festival group, St. John's requires a World Education Service evaluation, which is something you can do online by uploading your transcript, and then the evaluation results will also be shared as well. So for this, for those applying to St. John's, ensure that you have taken this process as well before you proceed. Excuse me. So that's it with transcripts as well. Note your questions. I'll come to that later. Recommendations. Now, even for very experienced candidates, recommendations is a major headache for a lot of you. Your professors are busy. Your line managers are busy. Some of you, you need recommendations from professional referees you still work for, and you don't want to give the impression that you are thinking of graduate school, so you are distracted. And as a result, you are not paying attention at work because you are thinking of going to graduate school in 2024. So you're trying to be confidential, to be discreet about it. And you have to go back to these same people to ask them for recommendation. Now, a few tips I'll give you. First of all, how to choose the right recommender to ensure that you are getting the best recommendation possible. Whoever is going to recommend you, discuss your goals with them. If it's a work colleague who is above you, discuss your goals with them that, listen, I love this job, but one of my desires is I want to go to grad school for A, B, or C reasons, right? And if it's a professor who's taught you, let them understand you need to go to grad school, this is what you need to study, this is how it links to your future career. Once people buy into your vision, they are more motivated to be able to recommend you to the schools that you desire to go to. Now, whoever is recommending you as well, provide an official email address, okay? No Gmails, no Yahoos. The reason being that Gmail, Yahoo, Outlook, all well and good, but they do not depict a professional outlook, right? And they also do not give confidence that it is actually the person you say it is who is bringing out the recommendation. So if you get a recommendation from, let's say, my email address, jojo@c.com, right? Then, because of my domain name, it is seen clearly that this is someone from Seed who is providing this recommendation. However, if you do jojo@gmail.com, there's no proof to the admission committee that it's actually Jojo who, in his official capacity, is giving you this recommendation. Is that right? Now, what should go into a recommendation or recommendation letter? If it's your professor, they should focus on your academic strength and your leadership skill within that academic environment that you were once in. So if you were a student leader, you were a union president, you were a union secretary, you did something, that should be in there as alongside your academic strength as well. If it's a senior colleague at work or a boss at work, you should focus on your work experience and also your leadership skills in the workplace. They can throw in an extra bonus by talking about some of your achievements that will make you also stand out and look very good to the admission committee as well. Let's try to be very professional about this. No relatives, those who do not know you or who do not know you personally in an academic or professional setting will not be able to write a good recommendation for you. And also, those who do not know you as well, who have not known you long enough for them to be able to give a strong enough recommendation as well. Be careful of those ones. Now, recommendations can be a major stumbling block for your application. You can get everything together, have a recommendation letter still pending. Please try and request for them on time, because as long as you have not submitted those recommendation letters or statements, your application is deemed incomplete and will not be evaluated. Even if it's evaluated, you will not receive a conclusive answer because your recommendation is still pending. I hope that's okay as well. Now, for those of you who intend to apply for MBAs, remember that you are going to be invited for interviews. Because you are not going to fly to the US or Canada for these interviews, they'll be mostly online interviews as well. Prepare for these interviews. Have a thorough memory check of all your experiences, how they've impacted your career. First of all, applying the STAR model, what situations you were in, what actions you took, what results, what situation you were in, what task was given you, what actions you took, what results you got. So situation, task, action, results as well. It allows you to put all your experiences in the structure so that when you are asked competency questions, you will be able to answer. Now, maintain high level of professionalism. Ensure that if you are going to be on a Zoom call, for example, have a uniform background. As you can see, my background has the Seed logo in there. You don't have to put a logo in your background, but make sure your background is even. It could be an evenly white background that allows you to be professional, dress well, show up well. Do not assume that because it's an online interview, you do not need to put on a jacket or you don't need to put on a suit, for example, as well. Let your answers be straight and concise and very clear. Do not beat about the bush at all. Be very enthusiastic. Let them see the excitement in your your voice and responses as far as you going to grad school is concerned. Listen carefully to each of the questions so you can provide the best answers. And then you yourself ask interesting answers around the master's degree you intend to get into. And to help you prepare your answers before you go into the room, even though I know in the discussions prepare your questions. So prepare your questions before you go into the room, even though I know that some questions will come up as the discussions go on with the panel or with the interviewer. But make sure that you have in mind things that you need to be clarified before you go into these interviews for your MBA. The MBA, because of sometimes where, or I'll say all the time, because of where MBA graduates tend to grow into and the kind of careers and roles they grow into, they do these interviews to ensure that you are prepared for the rigor of the program as well, if that's okay. Now, let's talk about funding. I know this is very critical for a number of you, and I know I'll take funding questions in the end, but let me try and cover as much as possible. First of all, some of you are blessed enough to be able to personally fund your programs in the US or Canada. We are grateful for that, for these opportunities to be able to fund ourselves. So if you are in that position, start to prepare your funding sources, either within family or within parents or from your personal account. Start to structure that personal funds and prepare to be able to move that into your tuition and future expenses as well. Do your research as far as the program you want to study is concerned, so you know how much it takes for your personal funds to cover your tuition and what it takes to cover personal expense as well. Loans is increasingly becoming popular in this part of the world for students. There are a number of services that currently offer loans to international students from Africa. So an example is Empower, an example is Prodigy. Some of you are already exploring these loan providers as well to enable you get into these programs as well. There are also external agencies who are external to the universities who also provide these funding for postgraduate degree. Some of them are based in your community, some of them are government. So for example, those of you from Ghana, there's something called the Scholarship Secretariat, where you can apply for a scholarship and justify why you need to be funded to pursue your master's degree as well. There are some who are also absolutely blessed. Their companies will sponsor them to do a master's degree, or there are companies who have scholarships for master's degree in certain areas in your country. You need to search as well. Now, one other important one also is the SEED scholarship, which is an example of an external organization offering scholarship. When we came for Business School Festival, we spoke about the SEED scholarship. In my next slide, I'll show you how to access it. Now, SEED has two forms of scholarship. In general, for next year, we are, excuse me, SEED is going to administer up to about $1.9 million in scholarships for students in Africa, Asia, and the Middle East as well. And you are eligible to apply because you've attended a SEED event. Some of you are at the Business School Festival. Some of you have attended our master classes. Some of you are on this workshop as well. So by attending a SEED event, you're eligible to apply for a SEED scholarship, which are of two kinds. So they are the exclusive university scholarships, where scholarships are allocated for certain universities. So you find, for example, Shoolitch School of Business at York University, who you met at the Business School Festival, having a SEED scholarship in their name, for which you can apply to business school and apply for to be considered for that scholarship as well. Then we also have the SEED scholarship fund itself, which has three types, which is we have the SEED Business Leadership Scholarships for those of you looking to go to business school. Then we have the Seed STEM Leadership Scholarship, for those of you looking to get into engineering and science colleges and universities. Then we also have the Seed Women in Leadership Scholarships for women with high potential leadership capacity as well. So in my next slide, I'll show you how to start the process to apply for the Seed Scholarship, which is over 1.9 or close to 1.9 million in funding available for 2024. Now, finally, each university has its internal funds as well that you can have access to. So for each university you intend to get into, ensure that you are researching into the scholarships that are available, what the application process is, and what the deadlines are. Deadlines very important, and what the requirements are. So some of them are merit-based, some of them are need-based for those who have need-based issues. Some are fellowships, some are assistantships. Fellowships and assistantships point in the same direction. The main difference is that fellows do not have any service obligations to the university, but assistantships have service obligations that include tutoring, research assistantships, teaching assistantships, etc., to the host universities as well. All right. So like I promised, here you go with the Seed Scholarship. Scan this QR code. For those of you who have not begun the process already, scan this QR code and be able to start your journey towards, let me blow this up, put it in the middle. Start your journey towards being a Seed Scholarship applicant, and hopefully you could or may be successful at it as well. I'm going to count 15 in my head, and I'm going to take this off. You can use your phone camera to scan, If you do not have access to scan immediately, you could also keep this for later as well. Okay, I'll proceed with this, okay? Right. So just a run over the checklist that you need to be able to be successful in your application. Like I said, the purpose of us meeting today is to take you across the line from interest to actually completing your application early enough for you to follow up with all the additional things you need to do, scholarships, all the paperwork, etc., etc. So first of all, we spoke about the application form, which is online, okay? Your standardized test and scores, whether it's JMA, GRE, or the English language test, based on what your status is as well. Essay or statement of purpose, you need to check that as well. Letters of recommendation, your resume, any additional requirements. So some of you are in areas where you have portfolios that you need to show to the admission committee to highlight your experience as well. And then there's application fee. There's application fee as well. Thankfully, for those of you who have been to some Seed events, either you met us at Business School Festival or you attended one of our master classes, you automatically earn application fee waiver just by doing that, just by attending our events. Now, the good thing is, after Business School Festival, we sent out the application fee waiver process to all of you. In case you haven't seen it, please scan this to get access to the application fee waiver instructions. We have sent these instructions after the Seed Business School Festival concluded with the last event in Addis Ababa. But it's possible you may have missed it in your email or you may have missed it on WhatsApp. No worries. Take your phone camera, scan this QR, and it will take you to the instructions that we put together for how to get application fee waiver from each of the schools that you met at the Seed Business School Festival. So I'll give this some time so you can be able to scan this properly, okay? I'm going to count 10 in my head and then we'll move on. It's almost done, so we'll go to questions very soon. Okay. So I'm going to move on from this one. Okay. All right. So we'll go to question time. I will look at the Q&A and start tackling from there. So Melese from Ethiopia, Melese Terefe is asking, is the application a fully funded scholarship or not? So Melese, if you go into, if you are talking about your application process, there's no guaranteed scholarship for just applying to a program. But once you apply to the program, universities have internal scholarships, some of which may be full tuition or not. And then there's scholarships like the seed scholarships as well, which the university may or may not be participating in, for which they may be 100% for tuition or not. So do your research with the university. Also check the seed scholarship page itself to see if there's what type of scholarship applies to the school that you are interested in, so you'll be able to know what you are entitled to. Agnew says, I have an online accredited MBA from the University of the People. So can I continue PhD by this scholarship? Thank you. Agnew, I cannot speak about PhD in this session. What I'll say is that for the business schools you're interested in applying to, in taking your PhDs in, why don't you make inquiries to those schools to find out if your MBA qualifies you for a PhD and what sort of proposal you should submit as well. Mehan Adam says, what are the mandatory requirements we have to do to get the admission in full funded or half? So I've given you requirements to get admission. For full funding or for partial funding, you will have to follow up through with the scholarship applications and be able to impress enough for you to get whatever scholarships are available. Mind you, scholarships are not guaranteed, one. Two, they are extremely competitive. So I always advise that even if you are applying for scholarships, work on your alternative funding sources as well. And in the end, you may be able to combine, or one of them will come through for you as well. Now, Siegfried Ayi. Siegfried says, sir, please, I want to ask, when writing the SOP and you think some sentences were not strong enough, can I use any AI tool to restructure it for me? Siegfried, that's a very good question. So the challenge with, the challenge with ChatGPT, for example, is that some people tend to ask ChatGPT to write them a generic essay, they copy and then they paste, right? But if you're trying to use ChatGPT or Grammarly to restructure your sentences, so for example, Grammarly will help you to write your sentences in the most clear and concise way. Those tools are available to help you refine your original ideas, and feel free to use them. But don't abuse them by using them as the end in all, where whatever output comes, that's what you take and you go and submit it. It will expose you because when they run it through their own internal tools, it will not be the best for you as well. So Pascal is asking, can I know the difference between motivation letters and personal statements? Interestingly, personal statements are also about motivations and interests, all right? So it's about how they are structured. One is structured in letter format, one is structured in essay format. But in terms of the core content, personal statements are also about motivation and interest, similar to motivational letters as well. So take note of the structure of these, how many words you're allowed, what structure you put them in, and how the essay format is as instructed by the university you are applying to as well. Please, can I use my BA Arabic education to apply for Master of Education in USA or Canada? so Mariam, I cannot provide you with a straight yes or no answer to this because I do not make the admissions decisions. However, when you find a school in the US or Canada that offers Master of Education, go to the Master of Education's program page and check what the requirements are. All right. If the requirements include your BA education, or it says have a first degree in education in general, then you will know you are qualified. So find a program first, and then you'll be able to proceed with that as well. Jennifer is asking, please, are all the schools business oriented? Jennifer, for this session, we are talking about the business schools as well. Michael Foucault says, my work email doesn't allow external emails. Michael, okay. Michael says, my work email doesn't allow external emails. It's only for work. This means I cannot share his work email to the school. Okay, so Michael, your challenge is that your, excuse me, your recommender is in your office, the same office as you. And your recommender, or including yourself, are not allowed to use the email for external activities, which is why you are compelled to use the Gmail as well. Michael, so the emails are required, so they send your recommender the link for which they can recommend you. Just the link. As far nothing else. They are not sending them a document. They don't send them a sheet. They mostly send them a link where they can go on to and complete the recommendation in a form and submit. The recommendation is not done in the email. It will be done in the form. However, sometimes they also require recommendation completed into a form saved as either PDF or Word and sent as well. I do not think those are harmful to your organization, but if it does not allow, then obviously you would have to find an alternative email as well. So I totally understand your limitation, and I wish you all the best as well. Wilson says, can someone apply if he or she have second class lower division in a degree certificate? Wilson, I cannot say yes or no. What I can tell you is, please ensure that you check the requirements page of the program you are interested in so that you know if you are qualified to apply or not. Ismail says, I have no test scores. Is there a possibility I can apply for a scholarship? Ismail, you need a test scores to get into the program. Not necessarily to apply for a scholarship, to get into the program. And without getting to the program, there will be no opportunity for you to apply for a scholarship. You need to get into a program first for a scholarship to become relevant to your aspirations in life. So if you have no test scores, all well and good, but the program you are trying to get into, do they require the test scores? If they require the test scores, then you have to take them. If they do not require the test scores, then fine, you are able to apply. But have at the back of your mind that the main reason why you need a test course is to get admission into a program and not necessarily to apply for a scholarship. Okay? Okay, so Michael is asking about examples of loan providers. Michael, I've posted a couple of them for you. Popularly, we have Empower, we have Prodigy, and then there may also be some locally in your respective countries that will provide these loan opportunities as well. Timothy, if you want more information on the GMAT, please visit mba.com, where all the GMAT requirement and support information is, including how to prepare for the exams as well. Siegfried says, please, when seeking recommendation from a professor, and he seeks for details from you. What are the details required in a recommendation? Okay, so I'd mentioned earlier that whoever is reviewing your application will need to see in the recommendation commentary on your, if it's a professor, in the case of a professor, commentary on your academic capacity or your academic history or your academic performance when you were studying under that professor, and also your leadership capabilities. So whether you were a union secretary, union president, you were ISEC president, you were a leader once you were in school, those are the things your professor can comment on to give you a good recommendation as well. So explain this clearly to him and let him tackle it accordingly. And Fitsum says, I do not fully understand about letter of recommendation. So Fitsum, I'll try and break this down in the most simple terms. Now, if when you're going to look for a job, right, they tell you to bring a reference letter or a referee, or they tell you to provide a referee, and the referee says, I know Fitsum, I work with him, he's a good guy, employ him. Similarly, when you are applying to business school, the schools require a recommendation from somebody who either has worked with you in the academic area or they work with you in the professional area as well. And that person is supposed to say that, I know Fitsum, I worked with him from this year to that year. We did A, B, and C projects together. He is XYZ, and I recommend him or I do not recommend him for this program. It's a similar thing. That is the most comprehensive explanation I can give you as far as letter of recommendation is concerned. So when you speak to your former professor or university lecturer or your boss or your senior colleague and you ask for this, this is the mindset or the philosophy behind a letter of recommendation. However, note that if it's from school, your professor should talk about your academic capacity and your leadership skills. If it's from someone at work or someone you work with in times past, they should talk about your professional experience and your leadership capacity in the workplace as well. Sedu says, what if your reference comes in after the application deadline? Sedu, unfortunately, you will have missed the opportunity. However, some schools and some school admission teams are gracious enough to notice that you've sent in everything except the letter of recommendation, and they may give you some grace period for you to submit it. But do not play on grace period. Just try and get it in on time so you can be safe in your application as well. So Alehen is asking, how can I get English test exams? I want to examine, but I don't know where I can get it. Alehen, if you have a British Council office in Addis Ababa, if you have a British Council office in Addis Ababa, and I'm going to check this for you even whilst I speak. I told you that my aim is that by the time this session is over, you will be ready to apply. Okay, so hold on a second. And this goes to all of you as well who are looking to write the English language test as well. So there's the British Council office on Comoros Street, Addis Ababa, 1043. Comoros Street, Comoros Street, Addis Ababa, 1043. British Council will help you to study and write the IELTS. So visit British Council either now or right after the Christmas weekend and ask them about your IELTS. They'll help you to book the IELTS. They'll help you with prep. They'll help you to take lessons. and they'll help you to write the exams either on your own at home or in their exam center on their premises as well. So British Council in Addis Ababa, British Council in Lagos, British Council in Abuja, British Council in Accra, British Council in Nairobi as well, okay? All right. So Samuel Jacob says, could these waivers obtained from this CDVM be used for other courses applications apart from? So the waivers are specific to programs for which the events were held for. So please take note of that, Samuel. Ada next says, is this scholarship used for undergraduate students? No, sorry, no. Okay. I think I answered a question from Mikhail, but let me answer it again. Mikhail is asking if it's mandatory to submit to TOEFL. Okay, so Mikhail, you have your answer as well. Jacinta asks a very interesting question. Jacinta says, what could lead to your admission being rejected? So Jacinta, mind you, these programs are very competitive to get into. So even though you would have submitted all your documents, ticked all the boxes, there'll be no guarantee you get an admission. If I tell you you get an admission guaranteed, I will not be truthful with you, right? However, it's important that you put your best foot forward. Put your best foot forward as far as what you say in your application, what you submit, the clarity in your personal statement or your statement of purpose as well, to give yourself a more than proportionate chance of being successful as well. However, outrightly, I mentioned about being truthful in your application as well. It's one of the things that will affect you, so take note of that, okay? Now, Ishmael Asamani, Ishmael says, please, I'm planning to start my master's in 2026. Can I apply now? And if I'm admitted in 2024, can I choose start in 2026? Ishmael, why would you want to do this 2 years ahead of time? You are still working, you are gaining more work experience. I strongly believe that your application in 2025 will have 1 more year of work experience and 1 more year of things you've done to show off. So it's up to you. I don't think there's a need for you to apply, get in and defer. The schools are not going anywhere. So take your time. Now, Mayokun has an interesting. Mayokun says, is asking whether they can work whilst they are studying. Of course, Mayokun, your student visa gives you some allowance to work as well, both in the US and Canada. And the US even gives you more time during the summer as well to work full-time. So yes, you can work whilst as long as you have the capacity and as long as it's not going to affect your ability to complete the program, yes. Daniel has an interesting question. Can a 3-year BA degree be acceptable for MBA? So this is school specific. Every school and their philosophy or policy on 3-year degrees. When you find a school you want in this business school festival list, please ask about this specifically as well. But mind you, I believe, Daniel, you also do have some work experience which will impact whatever decision they make on this. But make an inquiry from the school. You can make the inquiry right away to the admissions office, even whilst you are starting your application as well. International test, Alehen's international test score and score like IELTS or TOEFL, GMAT, GRE. Alehen, just to be clear, GMAT, GRE are the test scores for your admission process as well. Now, IELTS and TOEFL are English language tests, which some schools waive for certain countries where English is the primary language. So, for example, in Ghana and Nigeria, Emory says they waive English language for Ghana, Nigeria, and a place like Malaysia because they believe these countries conduct education, and business in English as well. So check the school's requirements before you proceed as well. I'm going to give 3 people a chance to also ask me their question. Let me see if, okay, hold on a second. I see some hands up. Have you already put questions in the, okay, suddenly I see like a million hands up. Have you already put questions in the chat or the Q&A? Okay. All right. So I think we've tackled all the questions in the Q&A as well. These are my last words to you, even as we go on break for Christmas, is that a number of you desire to study in the US and in Canada. And some of you took the steps and you came to the Seed Business School Festival. You met the school reps directly. Mostly these are people that you probably exchange a few emails with, but they came all the way to Accra, they came to Lagos, they came to Abuja, they came to Nairobi, they came to Addis Ababa. They met with you, they took time, they answered your questions because they want you to succeed in this process. What I'll say is that all that is done now. Now the rubber hits the road. It's time for you to actually follow up with these processes and be able to successfully complete the application, which is why we've had this workshop. And I know and strongly believe that at least it's eased your fears and your doubts a little bit, and it will allow you to start the process. Like I said in the beginning, the first step for you is to go to your university's application portal and create your profile for the particular program you want to apply for. Once you do that, you will see all your requirements in your checklist, and then you can proceed to start applying for the programs by ticking off each of the requirements as well. Okay, so I wish you all the best. I wish you a happy holidays, but I also wish you all the best. As the holidays are ongoing, please do not forget to get some of these requirements done. Speak to your professor, speak to your bosses, ask for your personal letter of recommendations, start writing your personal statement, check the essay topics for the school that you want to apply for, start writing them, start seeking third-party advice, getting people who are more experienced to review it for you and be able to advise you as well. Start all these processes. If you need to write a GMAT as well, find a school in your city or test prep in your city. For those of you looking to write English languages, I already told you about British Council for the IELTS. There are also some private test centers that also offer tuition for the TOEFL. British Council does IELTS. Others do TOEFL. Start preparing for those. Take steps. Personally, set goals for yourself. Timeline goals. Listen, by end of December, I should have done A. By end of January, I should have done B. By end of February, my application should be completed. Set goals for yourself and stick to them. Stick to them. Make sure you stick to them, you follow through with them, and hopefully next year, for those of you who have 2024 plans, we'll see quite a number of you being able to achieve your dreams for the year. My time is up. I think I answered as many questions in the Q&A. My colleague on the call had also sent in some answers as well directly to the individuals who need them as well. So the Arintene, there's one last one. Permit me to take this before I say goodbye. Okay. So Rachel is saying, please, if you have an admission already, can you apply to a scholarship for George Washington? Rachel, absolutely, yes, you can. Yes, you can. For those of you who have admissions to any of the schools in the Seed Scholarship, please proceed and apply for the scholarships directly as well. Okay? And Seidu has the most interesting question to close the afternoon. So it says, please, can you change the recommender after submitting the application and realizing they are delaying you? Seidu, if there's a need for you to do that, reach the admission office of the program you want to apply for at the university you want to attend and request their permission to do this, okay? And once the permission is granted, you'll be able to go ahead and do this. Mind you, some of it is sent directly to the recommender, and without the school's permission, you will not be able to make that change, all right? So thank you all very much. Thank you all very much. I recommend you follow our social media page. This is our Instagram page. Our Instagram community is where we share opportunities, we share upcoming events, we share what's happening in the new month. We share updates on scholarships. We've even posted some of the people who have been shortlisted as well for the next stage of the scholarship on there as well. It's an interesting Instagram page. Please scan this to go and follow us. If you cannot scan this, just go to Instagram and look for @Seed Global Education. @Seed Global Education. Once again, @Seed Global Education. So thank you. Thank you for making time. Thank you for making time to listen to me. I hope it's been helpful. And I look forward to seeing a number of you make it to your dream postgraduate programs in the coming year. That's how we also find our fulfillment. My name is Jojo Kwanzaa, and have a good afternoon. Bye-bye.